Skibidi Jack it off.
Showdown time.
Oh, cards.
I lost. It's only a game of poker. A game I've played for a long time. And only lost twice. Who was the first? The man I killed, of course. Well, it seems I've found the partner I've been looking for all along. Over a game of cards? Why, yes, over a game of cards. That was how we first met, 7 years ago. 7 years earlier, Phoenix Wright's final trial.
Aw, shit.
Well, everything's a little brighter, I think. Courtroom number... Defendant lobby number 2. Okay. It's been a long time since I felt like such a rookie. Gotta try and relax. Good morning, Mr. Enigma. I'm sorry to have sprung this on you so suddenly. I received the files from your previous attorney only yesterday. Honestly, I'm not entirely sure I'm prepared. I understand. I am asking the impossible of you. Yes, well, you haven't really told me what happened yet. All we did was play cards. And that was enough. Actually, it wasn't. Trust me.
Good morning, Daddy.
I'm so glad you came.
You okay, Daddy? They picking on you?
I am fine as always. This old boy is here to help me after all. That's young man to you. Good morning. That's a cute outfit you have on.
Thanks. My first show's today, after all.
Oh, I'm sure it is. What the heck is she talking about? Oh, old boy. Huh? Me? Look what he started. I'm, here. Oh, wait, that was the girl. What's this? It seems fate's clock will make me wait a little longer. At least only less than 10 swift minutes remain. To all those who have supported me in my life's work, I give thanks farewell. What's this?
I don't know. I just got it over here there in the hall. They told me to give it to the old boy in the blue suit with the spiky hair. They said it was really important.
What's this? A memo for you or some such? Huh. Not from the looks of it. What's this? It looks like a page from someone's diary. I'll give it a read later. Well, how do you feel about the trial today? We'll get through it somehow. Incidentally, the prosecutor today is a new guy, I hear. Ah, an easy win then, yes? They're calling him a true thoroughbred in the history of the prosecutor's office. Of course, there's one of those every year. The switching of attorneys just before the trial. I know it is a difficult situation to put you in, but allow me to say one thing, Mr. Wright. Yes? They will not be able to pronounce me guilty today. So, do your best, but do not worry. First time a defendant's ever given me a pep speech. I'll do what I can. I see you do not understand. You see, it will be impossible for them to declare a verdict. Impossible? Yes. Isn't that right, Trucy?
Yep, you bet, Daddy.
My first look at the case was only yesterday, and the information I was given was a tad bit lacking, to be honest. Still, I'll do what I can, for their sake. I believe the curtains will be lifting any time now. I am in your capable hands, Mr. Wright.
My client is Shady Enigma. He's a Shady Enigma? Really? Okay, Satani. Known to the world as Zach Gramarye. A widely popular magician, star of Troop Gramarye. His mentor, Magnified Gramarye, was a rare breed of magician. He single-handedly ushered in a golden age of stage magic, until he was shot dead. And Zach Gramarye is the suspect. April 19th, 10 a.m. District Court, courtroom number 7. God, I love Gavin's outfit.
Court is now in session for the trial of Shady Enigma.
The defense is ready, Your Honor.
Is the prosecution ready?
I was just thinking, is this what all the fuss is about? Bit of a buzzkill, really.
A buzzkill? Is this some kind of new kind of crime, or?
One of the worst. This is a trial, yeah? Where are the sweaty palms, the pounding hearts? The Gavinius concert got 10 times the thrill this gig's got.
Who were you again?
Clavier Gavin. I came to get plenty started. Legally, yeah?
Gavin? Defense attorney Christoph Gavin's,
I figures my brother's more famous in this part of town. Cavalier Gavin. Lead singer from the mega hit band The Gaviniers. You're out of your league, rock boy. I know what you're thinking. You're out of your league, rock boy. Huh? True, my debut single, 13 Years Hard Time for Love, went platinum overnight. But that's just a hobby to me compared to this, yeah? Talkative, aren't you? I like your affected aero rock accent, by the way. I'm just getting warmed up. You're attorney, right?
Perhaps you would be so kind as to fill us in on the case.
A chung, baby. Time to call the opening act. What was his name again? Ah, yes. Detective Gumshoe. Hit it. Oh, I have never done Gumshoe's voice before. Oh, it's the boy. And you on?
Hey, you were the one who called me up here, sir. Name's Dick Gumshoe. I'm a homicide detective down at the precinct.
Detective Gumshoe. Long time no see.
Hey, you!
Huh? Me?
Today's the day, pal. Today I win and you lose. I got confidence in my testimony today, see?
What? You normally lack confidence in your... What, you normally lack confidence in your testimony? Detective, this is my stage. Can the antics?
Huh?
All this, hey you-ing and such. And I could care less about your history together.
Very well. Detective Gumshoe, if you would, please tell us about the case at hand.
It happened 6 days back, in a room at the General Hospital. Wow, that's a scene. The facts are as simple as they come. Here's the crime scene. The victim was a patient, asleep in a hospital bed. The killer comes in, puts a pistol to his forehead, and bam, lights out. Them's the facts!
Not so long ago, the victim Magnified Gramarye was a famous man. He had the entire country under his magic spell, as it were.
Ah yes, the great magician. He retired years ago, though. Say the name Magnified to one of my generation, and you'll be lucky to get a blank stare.
Yes, though I'm sure the youngsters today know his disciples even better. I dare say Troop Gramarye has made quite a name for themselves. Anyhow, the retired Magnified...
I'm trying to figure out what to do with Gumshoe.
Anyway, the retired Magnifie's been in the hospital for last year. What was it? A mall ignorant tutor or something. Doing something to his liver, I think? Yeah.
A malignant.
A malignant tumor, perhaps. In other words, he had liver cancer. He had only 3 months left to live, in fact. Oh. The facts do seem simple enough. But something's not right. The victim was already climbing a 3-month stairway to heaven. Why not wait for him to knock, knock, knock on heaven's door? Why shoot him? I wouldn't have put it quite so lyrically, but it's true. Why make the effort to commit murder when the victim was already about to die? Incidentally, the victim had a serious case of diabetes. Diabetes? In fact, he was about to shoot up with insulin when he was shot with a pistol. The syringe was found at the crime scene. Chronic diabetes and cancer. As much as it pains me to say it, the victim was clearly at the end of his life. I can't believe we're dealing with real illnesses in an Ace Attorney instead of just fake-ass poisons. Oh, I believe the question before us is clear then. Why did the killer have to shoot this dying man? What reason could he have had? Very well, Detective. Perhaps you can enlighten us as to the circumstances of the shooting. Yes, sir. Poison for Cusco's poison. Yeah, I'm gonna do something like that. Actually, the victim kind of ordered the defendant to do him in. A few days before it happened, the victim sent a letter ordering his own murder. The defendant did what was asked of him and shot the old man in the head. The bullet was fired from the pistol found at the scene, no doubt about it. And the pistol definitely belonged to the old man, sir. What? You're saying the victim ordered his own shooting? Those are the facts. I have here the letter in question. To my beloved student Zach, to you I entrust something, 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 kill me. Very unusual indeed. Although, could such a thing as a letter really cause one to pull a trigger? I wonder. I believe the answer to that question can be found at the end of the letter. Oh, you cannot refuse, and we both know the reason why. Detective Gumshoe, can you explain this to the court? Unfortunately, even the defendant won't say a peep about that bit, sir. One thing bothers me about this. Why didn't you just say 11? Why have him come at 11:05 without some specific reason? The devil is in the details here, attorney. Well, was there some reason? As it turns out, there was. Every night for half an hour starting at 11, the victim, Magnifique Grimoire, was given an IV. An IV? There it is in the picture, off the side of the bed. At 11, a doctor would come and set up the IV. 30 minutes later, he would come back for the empty bag. This happens every night without fail. So that was the only time they could meet without the chance of an untimely interruption. During his IV. Very well, shall we begin? Mr. Wright, your cross-examination if you would. What's this reason he couldn't refuse, I wonder? He couldn't have at least mentioned it to me. Let's look at my evidence. Dude, gotta look at that attorney's bag. Oh, I didn't mean to present it. Your Honor, that's David. Well, that's fine. That was actually a full-on misclick. I wanted to look. Gotta look at the attorney's badge. We won't have it for long. The number engraved on the back. If you drop it, people will know it was you. Ooh, I wonder if that's ever relevant. That'd be cool if that was relevant. Okay, what do we got here? Let's actually look at the scene. We have a medical bag, we have a gun, we have an insulin syringe. He was writing a book. There was a page torn out of it. Interesting. There's a clown with a bullet in its head, which is weird. And then he's got a hole in his head. Alright. And then the IV isn't filled all the way, but I don't know. I don't know about that. A single gunshot to the head, estimated time of death 11 to 11:30. That adds up. It seems fate's clock will make me await a little longer. At least only less than 10 swift minutes remain to all those who have supported me. Okay, so is this the torn page? Interesting. So that's the torn page from the book. Yeah, that's... Tumor in liver has progressed to the final stage with no hope of recovery. Patient has 3 months to live. Okay, that no new information there. Always hated getting shots. I guess Max Fire was giving himself the insulin shots. There's no way I could do that. Ugh. Wait. What if I use this as injection? Use this to inject his insulin. Why are there no traces of it having been used? Something to keep in mind. So it's an unused insulin thing. And then, to my beloved student Zach, to you I entrust the task of lowering my life's curtain. Come on the 13th, 11:05 p.m. I will ready a gun with which you will shoot one shot square in the forehead. You cannot refuse. You both know the reason why. So one shot. So why is there 2? Okay. Okay, no necessarily a contradiction there. Okay. Let's press this, because there was some contradiction in what was asked of him. How can you be so sure? Hey, you gotta learn to stop relying on people to do your thinking for you, pal. Learn to think for yourself, get that noggin quaking. You fail to grasp the concept of questioning, detective. First, we got this letter. It says shoot in the forehead loud and clear. I can see that, but it still wouldn't do it. Well, maybe you need to grow yourself a backbone, pal. You fail to grasp the concept of shooting people as bad, detective. You also found the defendant's pistol at the scene. Traces of gunpowder residue show that he had been fired recently. Well, Mr. Wright, as far as I can tell from looking at this photo, there seems to be no issue with the prosecution's claim. The photo. Maybe there's something in there I can use. So they're saying that the defendant shot the victim in the forehead. I think there's a hole in the prosecutor's argument. I have no clue. Did shot something else. Looking at this photo, another possibility occurs to me. Yes? What does the letter tell us? The defendant had a reason he couldn't refuse. His teacher's wishes. Bingo, pal! That's why the defendant bopped him one in the forehead! Oh, the defense disagrees. You see, the defendant had another choice he could make. What? And can you prove that with this photo? I can prove he had a choice, yes. The defendant might have fired like he was ordered, but he didn't shoot the victim's forehead. Well, let's hear what you're thinking, Mr. Wright. If he didn't shoot the victim's forehead, what did the defendant shoot? He shot this thing. The clown doll? Take a closer look, see? It's been shot in the forehead, too. Oh, there's a hole in its forehead. Yes, and a hole in the prosecution's claim. I suppose you have a reason to... I suppose you have a reason as to why he'd shoot that clown doll? He didn't shoot the doll. He shot the doll's forehead. His forehead? Ugh! Let's read the orders once more, shall we? You will shoot one shot square in the forehead. Which is exactly what he did. He shot the clown doll square in the forehead. The defense has raised an intriguing possibility. The hole in the clown's forehead definitely looks like it was shot. Bailiff, send someone to investigate the matter. I admit I'm impressed, but I expected nothing less. Still, this doesn't mean he didn't shoot the victim. Perhaps he did have to shoot a forehead. Perhaps he did have to shoot a forehead, as ordered. But the letter says nothing about whose forehead. This was the only way he had to follow his orders without taking a life. Oh, the bullet hole in the clown's doll forehead does demand an explanation. I might very well be a clue. Yet, Prosecutor Gavin is right. It alone does not prove the defendant's innocence. You cannot say for sure the defendant didn't shoot the victim. So sorry, Mr. Wright. How sad it is to see the mighty fall. How sad is it to see the novice's overconfidence? He doesn't realize just how big this little hole is going to get. Detective Gumshoe, please take this newfound fact into account of your, as you continue your testimony. So what if he shot the clown? He still shot the victim, pal. I didn't have time to gather all the details before coming in here. This testimony might be the only source of information. And read this letter carefully. Well, the victim sent a letter ordering his own murder. Okay, it is at the end. So what if he shot the clown, he still shot the victim? Let's press. It's gonna reset me, but... So let me get this straight. You're saying my client first shot the clown, then shot the victim? Hey, not a bad summary, pal! More of a confirmation than a summary, but whatever. That was really more of a confirmation than a summary. But your defense attorney seems pleased with him. But your defense attorney seems pleased enough with himself. Do these people even miss a chance to mock me? Well, now that Mr. Wright's gotten that out of his system, shall we continue with the testimony? More defense did what happened. So what if he shot the clown, he still shot the victim, pal? I guess just present this, because it says only shoot once. Objection! Your Honor, that... Oh, boo. I'm gonna go ahead and just press everything now. Why are you so certain? What pile of sand has your head been stuck in all this time, pal? You never heard of Zack and Valen's quick draw shoot 'em? Huh? What's that? One of the defendant's specialties. Zack and Valen stand on either side of a girl. Then they shoot, but the bullets don't hit them. Instead, they hit everything else on stage. This is one of the pistols they used in their show. Got a great design, huh? The kids love it. Many boys and girls join the police because of that pistol, I hear. You know, that would explain a lot about the police force. Chip Grammery stopped doing that act a while ago. The old man held onto that pistol ever since. You mean this pistol? The one in the crime scene photo?
That's the one. It's a funny looking gun, so there's no mistaking it.
We compared the bullets taken from the victim's skull with the bullets fired from his gun. The rifling marks on the bullets were a perfect match. So, you verified the murder weapon, in other words.
You bet we did.
The court would like to take the pistol in...
The court would like to see the pistol in question. You got it, sir. Here she is. Whoa! This truly is a blast from the past.
It's a stage pistol. I'm going all over with the voices, because Gumshoe and the judge are kind of too close for me.
It's a stage pistol for magic shows, see? But it can fire real bullets. Oh, it looks so much...
Oh, I'm doing like the same voice for the two of them.
Oh, it seems so much bigger in real life than on TV. Yeah, but I can only hold one round. By the way, the pistol's firing chamber is empty. And it shows traces of having been fired recently.
So, were any fingerprints found on the gun? Unfortunately, no. Of course, the defendant is known for wearing gloves. We might say the lack of fingerprints is, in fact, a fingerprint of its own.
Oh, intriguing point. Well made.
Whoa. What? Not well made, not intriguing.
In any case, the court accepts this evidence. My grandchild would get a kick out of seeing this. But now it's time to return to our testimony.
Let's just press everything. Because I'm getting evidence. Just because he got the letter doesn't mean he went through with it. Oh, I disagree. The victim was indeed shot in the forehead after all. Just as he had commanded. It could have been a setup. But let's not be in such a hurry. Maybe we should let the witness talk for a change. Thanks, pal. Fine, you can play it slow as well as I can play it fast. On with the testimony. And this letter was sent by the victim?
There it is, gotcha! You're all mine this time, pal.
Huh?
I had the handwriting checked out. Of course, it's the victim's, no mistake.
Ah, I see.
Ha 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 ha! Score one for the boys!
I didn't lose, I was just ascertaining the facts. So why am I so annoyed?
But a letter ordering his own death. Things aren't what they used to be, I guess.
I'm not sure this is exactly commonplace, even now, Your Honor. So anyway, I guess I'll keep going. Okay, I've presented everything. Wait a second. This can only fire one shot. If you look closely, you can see the pistol's made to bend here. It's a one-shot only model, and I guess this bend is where you load it. So, this is the famous Gramarye Golden Gun. They say kids used to love pretending they had one of these. I wonder if they pretended to miss their targets, too. Yeah, present the gun. It's a one shot. Objection! Yay, music stopped. Good. The trickiest case often seems the simplest. Prosecutor Gavin, you missed the bullet hole in the clown's forehead. If you hadn't missed that, you might have come to a very different conclusion. Understand?
Yeah, but like I just said, pal, after he shot the clown in the forehead, he went and,
did nothing of the sort to the victim. The pistol proves he could not.
The murder weapon? How?
It's quite simple, Your Honor. The pistol only holds one bullet at a time.
Oh!
If he had shot the clown in the forehead, he couldn't have shot the victim too.
Yo!
That's not a contradiction, not even close. All he had to do was reload the pistol after the first shot. Oh? Where did he get the extra bullet? They're not easy to come by, you know. If you claim the defendant had one ready, then prove to us how he got it. Ugh. I had a feeling this wasn't over yet. No, this party's just getting started. And I haven't proven anything yet beyond my good looks and startling record sales. And utter lack of humility.
Oh, and what's this?
It seems the prosecution has another witness prepared. Like I said, a detective was just a warm-up act. Oh. Now that the audience has gotten a taste of what it's come to, they're ready. Ready for what? For my decisive witness, of course. A witness who, you will find, can prove one thing for us. That it was Zach Gramory who shot the victim in the forehead.
Very well. We will now pause for a 15-minute recess.
This might be my lucky break. I'll need that 15 minutes to talk to my client, Zach.
Court is adjourned.
Wow, that was the shortest chapter ever. Wow, that was very short. That was a single testimony. And like 2 contradictions.
Ah, very impressive, Mr. Wright. I have to say, I expected nothing less.
We've only just begun. I was hoping you could tell me a bit more about what happened, actually.
I did not think you would believe me if I told you. Better that you discovered the truth for yourself. I was thinking of you, you know.
I think we need less thinking and more talking. That night in the hospital, what really happened?
The way your eyes gleam, Mr. Wright. You'll scare Trucy.
Speaking of which, where is she?
You have seen the problem yourself, the letter.
The one shot in the forehead? One, right?
Yes, and the reason he speaks of. I could not deny my mentor's wishes, even if it meant my own death.
Why not?
This is something I will not say. For now, at least. I don't feel like telling you.
What's this for now business?
I have done many things in my life, some well, some poorly. But this is a cross we must bear alone to our graves.
We?
You wanted to know about the night of the incident.
Finally, this guy sure likes to take his time getting to the important stuff.
Of course, I had no intention of shooting my mentor. I snuck into his room that night at the appointed time, and found there upon his bedside 2 pistols.
2?
Yes, and the one I had used on stage, and the one that had been used by my partner, Valent.
Oh, for the Zach and Valent's quick draw thing.
My mentor had the look of one sleeping. I stood by his bedside, hearing only the light sound of his breathing. Then I took the pistol into my hand. I cannot deny that my resolve faltered then, for a moment.
You faltered? You mean you thought about shooting him?
Recall there was a reason I could not refuse his request. His last such request, though not his first.
So, there were other requests you couldn't refuse before?
To be honest, I've not always been steadfast, and I fear I've brought pain upon Trucy.
Was Magnify coercing his disciples somehow? Just what was going on in the Troop Gramory?
Yet, in the end, I did not shoot him. Instead, I turned and shot the clown. I took the pistol I had fired and placed it in my pocket.
In your pocket? I believe if you examine the bullet in the clown's head, you will find that it to be different than the one in my mentor. What were those called?
Rifling marks.
Yes, well, that is all I have to tell you concerning the case.
Concerning the case? You mean there's something else you can tell me?
You are a fascinating man, Mr. Wright.
Thanks.
Yes, there was something. My mentor, his eyes opened.
What? Magnifi Gramarye?
The old devil. He was not asleep, you see. Of course, the gunshot would have woken him anyway. And there we had our last discussion as mentor and pupil. It was not a long discussion, maybe 5-10 minutes or so.
What did you talk about?
Mr. Wright, did I not just tell you? It does not concern this case.
Zach Gramarye. He seems pretty steadfast to me. Or maybe just stubborn. Mr. Wright, your presence is requested in the courtroom.
Once again, I am in your hands.
Right. Let's get back in there.
Court is now back in session.
Alright.
During our recess, a bullet was found in and dug out from the clown's head. Well, this is news. And the rifling marks?
There wasn't any time to do a detailed analysis, though they did find the weapon type matched the murder. They did find the murder weapon type matches the murder weapon.
Oh, well, that's not very conclusive, is it?
Which is why I'm about to call my very decisive witness. Your decisive witness? How many times have I heard those words? Though they often turn out to be far less decisive than you think. Oh, don't worry on my account. I'm quite confident this witness will do the job. After all, he is intimately acquainted with the players in our little production, being the other half of Troop Gramarye's famous duo, Zach and Valent. Valent Gramarye? So we get to meet the Magnify's other disciple.
Perhaps we'll start by asking your name and occupation. Valiant Gramarye, magician. Oh, you're the decisive witness, are you? You can prove the fellow student, your partner's guilt?
Fate. The grand illusion, filled with traps and tricks. Wait, the shooting took place in the hospital after 11 o'clock at night. If you're a witness, does that mean you were there that night? Okay.
If I were to deduce this logically, the conclusion is yes! Okay.
I always get the characters, don't I?
I have an interesting fact for you, you see. Several days before the crime, my witness received this. That looks very familiar.
But wait. That's the same letter Zach Gramarye received.
Yes! Or perhaps I should say, ta-da!
That backspite.
Order! What does it say? Surely not the same thing. Perhaps you should see for yourself.
11:20.
Why, it's practically the same.
Which you will shoot one shot square in the foot, you cannot refuse.
The court accepts this into evidence.
So, he has to be the only other person who could have done it.
Dun dun dun. This is most unusual. Exactly what was going on with you folks? What exactly was your Troop Gramarye up to?
By which you mean...
I'm having trouble envisioning a man who would ask his students to kill him. Both of them, no less.
It's just my opinion, if Judge. But from these letters, I'd assume he was coercing them, not asking them.
We walked the magician's path together, and in so doing, shared much of our lives. When people are so close, there is strain, a warping of relations, you might say. Yet, this has nothing to do with the case at hand.
By which you mean you're not going to tell us. Which makes me wonder even more about the reason they couldn't refuse.
Well, let's get on with the testimony for starters. The defendant, Zach Gramoy, stands accused. Tell us why.
Oh, I'll do more than that.
For where he walks, the red roses rise, singing hymns to the miracle that is magic.
Fascinating. Though I hardly need to remind you that the evidence could just as clearly point to you as the suspect. The letter, the murder weapon, and now the 2 bullets found at the scene.
In fact, the only difference seems to be the designated time. As every magician knows, timing is everything.
Yes,
and now it's time to get this party fired up. That night, I visited the hospital room at the time Magnifi requested. The smell of gunpowder hung in the room, and my mentor had taken his final bow. I did not imagine my fellow student might have received the same instructions. Yet a deal with the dead is still a deal. Death's sweet kiss I gave to the clown. Then I informed the doctor and the police. Oh, so you were the one who reported the crime? Indeed, I would think. This fact alone would clear my name of suspicion.
Let's not jump to any conclusions.
Yes, the cross-examination comes before the conclusion in this court. But if your testimony proves to be true, then the defendant, Zach Gramoy, is guilty.
And if it wasn't Zach Gramoy, then the killer was you, Valant. And no disappearing act will get you out of that. Just go ahead and press everything. Closer. Which, according to the letter, was 11:20 p.m.
Indeed. In magic, timing is everything.
Right.
Consider the illusion of teleportation. If I were to appear on stage before my stunt double has left, how would that work? Why, it would reveal the very secrets of my magic.
Now that you've revealed the very secrets of your magic for all of us, let's move on. You went out to the designated time, and what did you see? So, you weren't worried for your own safety at all? I mean, you smelled gunpowder, yes? What if the shooter was still nearby?
Ugh. I did not consider this, to be honest. It is forbidden for a magician to have a good imagination.
Oh, really? Isn't magic all about illusions and imagination? How about this? You were the shooter, which is why you weren't afraid.
Now, you are the one imagining. It is forbidden for a lawyer to have a good imagination. The witness will refrain from pausing so suspiciously before responding. My forbidden imagination is starting to imagine things. I did not.
Okay, I want to voice him as if he is incredibly suspicious now, because that seems to be his bit. Which brings us back to this reason neither of you could refuse.
So it does! And my partner, he did not refuse.
But Magnify wrote the same thing to you. Why could you refuse if Zach couldn't?
Because I have a will of steel, of course. I also do this trick where I bend steel bars. So perhaps steel isn't all so strong.
So which is it?
Mind if I continue?
There were 2 bullet holes at the scene. One in the victim and one in the clown. You're saying the one who shot the clown was you?
No doubt my partner, Zach, had said much the same thing.
Yeah, because whoever didn't shoot the clown committed murder. I better dig up around a bit more and see what I can turn up. Mr. Valent, let me ask you about something else concerning the crime scene, namely... the bullet in the pistol, location of the pistol, the number of pistols. How many pistols were there when you entered the room? By which you mean what, precisely? 2 pistols were used in the Zack and Valent quick draw shoot 'em, correct? 1 for each of you. You are well informed, yet only one of my old friends sat in the hospital room that night. What did Zack tell me back in the lobby? Of course, I had no intention of shooting my mentor. I snuck into his room that night at the appointed time, and found upon his bedside table 2 pistols. I took the pistol I had fired and placed it back into my pocket.
I see no problem with the statement. Only 1 pistol is visible in the photograph at the crime scene, after all.
So you picked up that pistol and fired it?
Indeed I did. Alakazam, alakazing, alakaboom! Oh, it is the number of pistols really that's so important.
Quite important. The number of pistols is quite important, Your Honor.
Very well. Please add this detail to your testimony.
What can I do but obey? Let's press this. So you took the only pistol there and fired it? That's correct. And the pistol was this one, which was left at the crime scene.
Good show. I see you too are a magician of sorts.
And you're an idiot of sorts. Damn. Do you have any idea what you just said?
I see the fire in your eyes as you glare at the witness. So how about you heating up this trial a bit? These slow ballads bore me.
I've got a hunch, but maybe that's all it is. Okay, this is if I want to switch. What's the bullet in the pistol? In order to shoot a pistol, you need a bullet. Where was the bullet?
I entered the room and took the pistol in my hand. The bullet was already loaded, ready to fire at any time. A magician is always prepared, you see.
Prepared for?
One never knows when a miracle will be called for. A magician always has 7 doves in his pocket and a white rabbit up each sleeve.
Clearly we're dealing with professionals here.
Oh,
quite important. With a loaded bullet, we wouldn't have a murder. It's very important, Your Honor. Do I just present the gun again? Fires 1 real bullet, barrel marks match, bullet found on a victim, no fingerprints found. Let's try it, why not? Nope, not. Yeah, I thought, fuck. Well, the problem is that the testimony that proves that it's 2 guns isn't. I don't have that. Okay, let's just press this to be safe. So you informed the police. What did you do then?
well, what do you suppose I did? Use my magic to levitate my mentor's corpse, perhaps?
I don't know, that's why I'm asking. Now please answer the question and skip the sarcasm.
After I made my report, I called the doctor and we returned to the room. While we waited for the police to arrive, we discussed stomach medicine.
We've confirmed this with the doctor. It all checks out. He praised Mr. Valent's knowledge of stomach medicine, in fact. It is an honor I do not deserve, but I accept.
Both of the Magnifew students received the same letter. Both admit having gone to the hospital that night.
Okay, let's switch this again. Wait, this is new. One of them is being the levitation of iron balls without touching them. There's no magic involved there. The shooter was just methodical is all. He simply wiped everything off fingerprints. Can't really do much with the fingerprints there. Maybe I should ask about something else. The number of pistols. How many pistols were there when you entered the room? Yep, uh-huh. Okay, this is correct. I had it right. Let's try this. Okay, good, it's correct. According to the defendant, Zach Gremory, when he entered the room, there were 2 pistols on the table. 2? One of the 2 pistols he used to shoot the clown in the forehead. Then he left with it in his pocket. Of course, that is what he would say. Unlike the hapless clown, we must assume our defendant has some brains in his head. Well, what about what Mr. Valent has told us? You see, there's something about his testimony that doesn't make sense. What might that be? I told you, I took the pistol that was there and shot the clown. That's your story, at least. But the rifling marks tell us a very different story, Mr. Valent. Recall what Prosecutor Gavin told us? We compared the bullets taken from the victim's skull with the bullet fired from this gun. The rifling marks on the bullet were a perfect match. Ugh. Mr. Valent, if you fired this pistol, then you shot the victim in the forehead.
Hold. Well, this is all rather sudden.
What have I done?
Prosecutor Gavin?
I owe the court an apology. Sorry.
Sorry for what?
You see, I was unaware that 2 of these unique pistols were crafted. The analysis of the rifling marks only proved the type of gun that fired them.
But that's not what you told us before. You said you'd verified the murder weapon.
Which is why I'm apologizing to you now, quite sincerely, I might add. Would you hold me accountable for a mistake made in my youth?
That was just this morning.
I am still young. And I might add, it wasn't really my fault. It was a fucky wucky, it's fine. I'm just a good boy. I'm sorry. If the defendant had only admitted he took 1 pistol from the scene of the crime, we would not be having this pleasant discussion right now.
Oh, Valiant Gremory.
Yes, Your Honor. You were presented to this court as a decisive witness, but you've proven to be more divisive than decisive.
Hey, it's a good one.
Oh, thank you. I'm very clever.
You'll see. In time. The testimony so far has merely been a review of the facts.
The proof comes next.
Care to elaborate, Prosecutor Gavin?
When Mr. Valent entered the hospital room, the victim had already been shot. As this next testimony will prove. You're right, the real fight is about to begin. Bring it.
Very well. The witness will now testify to the court. Help us determine who shot what.
I don't know why, but these guys are kind of exhausting. Take a sippy.
Alright. I arrived in the hospital room at the appointed time, which is to say 11:20 p.m. After discovering the body, I fulfilled my obligation, then called in the doctor. The doctor examined the body before the police arrived. He was quite clear about the time of death, 11:10 p.m. And the one in the room at the time was my partner, not me. Oh, those times are rather close, you have to admit. You're talking about an alibi established over a matter of minutes. To use 10-minute discrepancy as the basis of your alibi is easy to explain in this situation, Judge. For example, take our debut hit single 13 Years, Hard Time for Love. Cue to the song, press play button, and you will play for 2 minutes 15 seconds. Do it 100 times, and the result is the same. The debut single was only 2 minutes and 15 seconds long? What a ripoff. Magic is a world of utmost precision. Hocus pocus requires admirable focus. And in the time of death determined by the doctor, there is an incontrovertible truth. Very well. The prosecution warns us that we're dealing with rather precious times, and we can expect the cross-examination to require the same level of precision. I would hope the defense refrains from its customarily broad, sweeping accusations, lest we blur the focus this case so clearly demands. Point taken. Baseless remarks will result in a penalty. Carry on, Mr. Wright.
Carry on, right. So what, do I get a penalty for pressing the wrong thing? Doesn't seem like it. Hold it. 11:20 p.m. Can you prove that's when you arrived?
Such a feat may be beyond even the great Valand. For there was no one in that room but Magnify, and he was departed after a fashion.
I have the defendant's Zach Gramarye's sworn disposition. I snuck into his room and that night at the appointed time. It was 10 minutes before I left the room, and the victim was still alive.
The time indicated by his letter to Zach was 11:05 p.m.
Exactly. Which means the witness could not have entered the room before 11:15, because his partner was still in the middle of his crime.
I see someone did their arithmetic homework.
You see, the defendant himself has corroborated the witness's testimony. That does... I don't see any problem with the testimony.
Sometimes the most magical thing of all is the truth. After discovering the body, I fulfilled my obligation and called in the doctor.
You walk in on a murder, and the first thing you do is shoot the clown?
The disciple does what the disciple must. My mentor's request without reason has caused for me a surfeit of sorrow. What would I, Valant, be now without him? May the soul of Magnify the Great find greater peace above. This I muttered to myself as I pulled the lonely trigger. In any case, I believe this is nothing more than what we have already learned. I'm still waiting for one of those right moments, Heir Attorney. May I remind you that baseless remarks will earn penalties? Proceed with that in mind.
Yes, Your Honor. What a pain in the ass turning out to be. Press this, because this is sus. Did the doctor say anything concerning the cause of death?
Why, yes. I believe he screamed, "My God, he's been shot in the head!" It doesn't take a doctor to notice that. I would probably have screamed the same thing.
And I would have penned the requiem that arose in my soul at that horrid sight. Whatever happened to a good old-fashioned investigation?
In any case, I believe that is nothing more than what we have already learned. I'm still waiting for one of those, right? Yeah. Yeah, this is sus, because that is more vague. I don't think I'm stepping out on a limb to say I have some doubts about this. How could the doctor be so precise with the time?
We do usually only get an estimated time of death, true. I'm not sure I've heard of verified time of death.
Magic reveals in making the complex appear simple, but reality is quite the opposite. What appears complex in this case is a simple matter of subtraction.
I see the person has done their arithmetic homework.
The point here is the IV the victim was taking. It's quite visible in the photograph of the scene. Recall what we heard earlier about the victim Magnifique Gramarye's schedule? Every night at 11, Magnifique took an IV drip for 30 minutes.
I can see the IV bag right there, yes.
Now look at the little closer. Follow the tube from the bag to the end.
Oh, the needle's been removed.
Doubtlessly, it fell out when he was shot.
That would seem to be the case.
When the needle comes out, the IV no longer drops. You can just measure the remaining IV liquid. Precisely. The IV liquid functions for our purposes as an hourglass of sorts. This is how the doctor determined the time of death. From the amount remaining in the bag, it was determined that the IV had stopped 10 minutes after administration began. And so it was when I, Valiant, entered that room. 10 minutes had passed since the horrid crime was committed. And this is proof.
Well, Mr. Wright?
That's important. Well, seeing how it is the biggest clue we have to the time of death, I'd say it's very important.
Agreed. It would be hard to imagine a more precise way to determine the time. Hold the power of arithmetic.
Very well. The witness will add this detail to his testimony. Sometimes the most magical thing of all is the truth. Remaining IV press for our due diligence. Did you notice the IV yourself by any chance? When first I entered the room, the stench of gunpowder assailed me, next to the mark of death upon my mentor's forehead. And then his left arm did a spy, arose, drooping and wilted, its thorn and discarded IV needle. Knocked from the vein by the force of the shot, lucky for you. If that IV had not been there, why, you might be a suspect. Indubitably so. I might say it's thanks to my lucky color. Your lucky color? Indeed, even today I wear the proudly pawned by suspect self, for it always without fail brings me luck. Why, when Zack and Valak won their first Magician's Grand Prix, yes, the very one held by the Association of Internal Magicians, I was adorned by this attire then too, and our trophy, a bust. Ah, what a day that was. That's one trip down memory lane no one needs. My lucky color, yes indeed, and that IV too. I say I think 'twas hard-hued, especially for me, Valiant.
Oh, that does seem to be the case indeed. Well, Mr. Wright, any thoughts on this testimony?
Valiant sure looks happy with himself. Okay, how about this lucky color testimony? I don't know why that would be a problem. I don't see any problems with the testimony. God, playing this legit's a lot harder.
You entered the hospital room at 11:20 p.m. The time given by the defendant, Zach Gramley, was 11:05. You didn't run into him at the hospital that night?
Oh, that is why I never perform with amateurs, you see.
Huh?
Picture, if you will, the nighttime hospital. Outside, only the pale light of the moon. If two dressed as we were to meet in such circumstances, I dare say that I would ruin the mood completely.
The mood isn't in question here.
I believe the witness is saying that they didn't meet, yeah? For what is magic, if not the study of beauty? Us meeting was not only out of the question, it was an impossibility.
For what is magic, if not the study of how to make absolutely no sense at all?
That said, was there a contradiction?
That's at such a narrow gap of time of like, if 10 minutes had passed since the IV began, like, God, I gotta do math. So he shows up at 11:05. And he was shot at 11:10. Supposedly, the IV was removed at 11:10. Letter telling Valent, and then he doesn't show. I mean, that's a 10-minute window. I don't know. I feel like the insulin is relevant, but not yet. I feel like that's later. Because the unused insulin is suspicious. I don't know. If you say so, let's continue, shall we? An alibi over the matter of minutes. Precise is right, huh? Impressing with impunity will earn me a nice penalty, too. The time of death. $11:10 p.m. Is there any way to contradict that? Well, the thing is, I have 2 times of death. Oh, I don't get my thing back. Let's just burn an injection, because why not? Yeah, screw it. Nope. Nope. Yeah, that's what I thought. I don't know. Yeah, this is taking a while, so I'm gonna do a guide. Sorry, peeps. But this is, 74 guide. I don't like being stuck. It's not fun. I feel like I gave it a college try. I'll pass the fourth statement. IV report clue to the record. Choose very important to gain new information. Press on the fourth statement to add the IV report clue to the court record. Okay, I did that. Choose very important again. Your statement. The new fifth statement. It doesn't look like it was in his arm at all, but I don't know. Because that's weird. What's up with the... It looks weird.
Objection!
No. I'm gonna start. Saves coming. Yeah, because I think this game is mean about too many penalties. God, I can't wait. The guide sucks. Press the fourth statement to add the IV report, including. I already got the IV report. Press on the new fifth statement. Oh, I have to press on it. Duh. I don't read. You notice the IV yourself by any chance? When I first entered the room, the stench of gunpowder assailed me next, and then his left arm. Better force, lucky for you. Ba, 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 ba. I guess, yeah, this is important. This is this thing. Lucky color. Oh, because it's both yellow. Sounds like your lucky color brought you plenty of luck, but not this time. Mr. Valent, your lucky colors betrayed you. I'm afraid you've lost me. Your Honor, the witness's testimony just now clearly contradicts the evidence.
What? Please recall my warning at the beginning of the cross-examination, Mr. Wright. Baseless accusations will be duly penalized. I hope this latest accusation is well-based.
I've got the basis right here. Very well.
Let's hear the defense's claim. Where's your evidence that contradicts that Mr. Valent has told us?
Present the crime photo. Okay, I'm gonna stop looking at the guy now. The crime scene tells us all, Your Honor.
The photo of the crime scene?
All this talk of color has me yearning for black and white. Clear-cut simplicity. Tell us, Herr Wright, just where is the contradiction in this photo? My pleasure, and I assure you it's quite simple. But I can't promise anything black and white. As to say... I imagine it's this, because... it's the yellow ribbon? I don't even know what this is. I imagine this was like the tape that was like attached to his arm. I'm a little confused.
Contrary to Mr. Wright's promise, this seems pretty black and white to me.
Agreed. How's that?
You're wrong, that black and...
Wait, what do you mean I'm wrong? I don't see anything yellow in here. When prompted, point to the IV bag. A blue bag filled with liquid in the upper right screen and presented. What? Why do I... I'm... The IV bag. Valiant Gramarye, let's get this one thing straight about your lucky color. It's yellow, yes? Kind of takes the mystery out of it, but yes.
Something wrong with yellow, Mr. Wright?
Yes, there is, Detective. Decisively. Not Detective. Yes, there is. Decisively wrong. In fact, taking a look at the photo of the crime scene. I'm confused.
What's this?
Confusion, doubt. Tell us, what do your elderly eyes spy?
Even my elderly eyes can see a problem here, Mr. Valiant. Look at that IV bag.
Ugh. What is this? What? Foul magic. Be hard to call the IV. What? What are you talking about? Okay, it's green liquid in a blue bag. I got overly back. Did he call it yellow? Did I miss that? It's really up there. I guess he called it yellow. I just thought he... I didn't know he called the bag yellow. I just missed that. And I'm afraid no magic was involved in the taking of this photograph.
Alakazam!
I'm a little pissed, actually, at that. But whatever.
Order, order, order. What does this mean?
This is some kind of mistake.
Yes, Prosecutor Gavin. Your witness's mistake.
The cleaner they are, the harder they fall. I suppose there's no substitute for experience. Valiant Gramarye, as you reminded us several times, your lucky color is yellow, but the IV is clearly not.
Well,
This contradiction can mean only one thing. And to think, you almost had me. I see your true colors now, Ace Attorney Phoenix Wright. Roll credits.
Something you'd like to tell us, Prosecutor Gavin? As far as this court can tell, the witness's testimony does contradict the evidence.
Yes, a contradiction. One that I shall be pleased to hand right back to Mr. Wright. How do you mean? How? Because the witness has made no mistakes. I agree at a glance the IV liquid does appear sort of greenish yellow. But I assure you the liquid itself is quite yellow.
Yellow liquid? How can you say that?
As far as I can tell from the photo, it's green. Yes, but the color in the IV bag itself? The bag? You mean the plastic bag on the hook?
Oh, it seems like... I want to say light blue, or...
Precisely. Figured it out yet? Put a yellow liquid in a blue bag and... you get green. This, incidentally, is the liquid's true color.
I see. The explanation does have a ring of truth to it.
Objection!
As I thought, there's no substitution for experience, Prosecutor Gavin. What? You may tell a good tale, but you have just proven something rather grave for you, that is. That was a weird read. Grave? The liquid in the IV is yellow, yes. But how did this witness know that? It's quite unnatural. It's quite unnatural when you think about it. Did you think about it? Didn't you? Your Honor, the defense requests an explanation from the witness. At the scene of the crime, the IV liquid appears to be green. So let me ask, How did the witness know the IV liquid was actually yellow?
Alakazam! Well, I suppose.
Order. Mr. Wright, you will explain this at once. The witness clearly knew the color of the IV liquid, so I'm sure it means something, but what?
I can think of only one possibility, Your Honor. The witness, Valiant Gramarye, has testified the IV liquid was yellow because he'd seen it before. I'm at one penalty, so I'm just gonna guide this. Sorry, people, I'm a liar. From the fact that before us, the answer is clear. The witness knew the IV liquid was yellow. Why? Because he'd seen it before. But not inside the blue bag we see in the photo. He saw the liquid by itself in a clear, colorless bag.
I suppose he would have had to, but I'm still not clear as to what this means.
Ask yourself, why would he know if he didn't work at the hospital? That's where you'll find your meaning, Your Honor.
I'm afraid I find nothing. So what is it? So what if he knew the
IV liquid's color? God, I am cold reading so badly right now.
Leave the getting excited over absolutely nothing to our teen popper fans, yeah?
The IV liquid is the only evidence proving the time of death. A 30-minute hourglass with 20 minutes worth of sand remaining. You claim Prosecutor Gavin.
I remember it well.
However, there's a critical difference between an hourglass and an IV bag.
Wait, I know! An hourglass uses sand, but an IV bag uses liquid. Right?
As much as it pains me to say this, Your Honor, no. Unlike the sand through an hourglass, IV liquid enters the patient's body, at which point, like magic, it disappears. However, what if the amount of IV liquid had increased? You couldn't tell, could you? After all, there's no way of knowing how much went in.
Let me get this straight. Oh, right. You're saying the witness watered down the victim's IV bag?
Not with water, but with IV liquid. That's how you knew the IV liquid was yellow.
No, wait, I said wait! I might be an amateur, How might an amateur such as myself perform such a task?
I'm an amateur too, but I can pour water into a cup.
I'm afraid there's quite a big difference between a cup and an IV bag. Quite. Can you prove our witness is capable of such a feat? Oh, here's a point. Amateurs, I at least, would have some difficulty pouring IV liquid into the bag.
You don't need an expert to see the look on the witness's face. He added liquid to the IV to throw off the time of death.
I tire of these fairy tales lacking evidence. Well, Mr. Wright, any solid evidence to bring us back down to earth?
Valiant Gramarye, I'm afraid your magic won't serve you well in a life of crime.
Might I ask what you're strongly suggesting?
Magic relies on props, and props become evidence. Our witness was certainly able to increase the amount of IV liquid in the bag. All he had to do was work a little magic. The prop has been washed. Yeah, small syringe.
The victim's syringe!
It's the perfect prop for the magical increasing IV trick. And easy enough for an amateur to use.
What kind of evidence is that? The syringe was clean, not a trace of liquid in it.
And don't you find that odd, Prosecutor Gavin?
What?
The victim had the syringe to administer his insulin shots. And there should have been traces of insulin left inside. Well, Valiant Gramarye, as you pointed out yourself, the IV liquid makes the perfect clock. One that could manipulate at will.
Alakazam! I do believe, well, with this first being his first, that the burden of the trial has been a bit too much to bear for Prosecutor Gavin. I'm afraid that, while there is a doubt as to the amount of IV liquid in the bag, the time of death cannot be proven. And that brings our trial to a close for today.
Well, maybe I can squeeze an extra day out of this. I can do a little much-needed investigation work.
I see there are no objections. Court is adjourned. Truly, there is no substitute for experience. Nothing blinds one to the truth so effectively. A word to the wise: underestimate the young, and they'll sweep your feet from under you in a way you never ever expected. You see, I know exactly what you're thinking.
What's he talking about?
You say the witness used a syringe to manipulate the level of the IV liquid, but there was no proof.
There's no proof he didn't do it either.
Yes, quite true.
Huh? He's admitting it?
Nor was this witness quite as decisive as I'd hoped. This, I admit. After all, why linger in the past when the future holds so much? You have something in mind, Prosecutor Gavin? Proof, Judge. I have another way to prove my case. With evidence, no less. What's this? This is the victim, Magnifique Gramarye's diary.
Diary?
After going into the hospital, Magnifique began writing his memoirs, it seems. The story of his birth, his startling debut, and of meeting his disciples. It seems he intended for the last chapter to end, quite appropriately, with his death.
Wait, that book doesn't say what the reason was, does it? The reason why his disciples couldn't refuse his last request?
Sadly, it does not. What's important here is on the last page. Apparently, the victim wrote in his journal that night, even after the IV had begun 11 p.m. Let's read it, shall we? Oh, this does appear to have been written just before the death.
Tonight's IV is in, maybe the last. I leave the rest to them. The first should come soon. The journal may end, or it may go on, but not long. It depends on his hand. All is left to mine is, his pen. All that's left to mine is to lay down the pen.
According to subsistent evidence, read the very last part with particular care. This journal may end here, or it may go on, but not for long. That depends on his hand. Of course, by his, he refers to our defendant, Zach Gramarye. That would make sense, yes. He was the first secluded visitor, after all. But look at what he said before that. This journal may end here, or it may go on. It may go on. Magnifique Gramarye intended to write again. That is, if Zach Gramarye didn't pull the trigger. I see the defense understands the meaning of this. The victim's diary does not go on, it ends. Because Magnifique Gramarye's life was brought to an end by the defendant, Zach Gramarye. Order, order, order. Prosecutor Gavin? Are you certain that Magnifique Gramarye wrote this? There was no mistaking it. There's no mistaking his handwriting. Well, this does seem to be significant. According to this, Magnifique did intend to continue his diary. Yet, if his diary ended here, which plainly it did, and the one who pulled the trigger was the first visitor, Zach Gramarye. Well, how do you like me now? You're right. Still too green for your tastes, huh?
he's right about the diary being pretty clear. So I find it hard to believe that he'd overlook such an obvious problem with this precious evidence.
Well, Mr. Wright, the witness's testimony we heard was lacking. But put together with this evidence, it seems quite sufficient for a case.
If the diary is accepted like this, the trial's over. Maybe it's time for me to show them something? Here's the thing. The decisive moment. I'm left with no choice but to show my own evidence.
What? You have some evidence that overturns this diary?
Huh. It's not too late to rethink this and avoid more embarrassment.
Very well, please show us your evidence, Mr. Wright.
Incidentally, don't even think of showing us this diary I've just shown to the court. Now that we've come this far, I hope you have something a little more decisive. Shows evidence that proves the victim continued writing his diary. Alright, I'd be happy to. The decisive evidence proving the diary didn't end with this page is the second page. This I did not look up. I am smart. First, take a close look at this diary. Note that a page has clearly been ripped out.
What's this? I hadn't noticed that at all.
That's why we're still talking about this? As it just so happens, I have here what I believe to be the missing page.
Elika, I don't believe it!
Looking at this page, it's hard to imagine that the first visitor that night shot Magnifi Gramarye. That's the defense's position.
Wait, let me see that.
It seems Fate's clock. It seems Fate's clock will make me wait a little longer. At least only less than 10 swift minutes remain. To all those who have supported me and my life's work, I give thanks. Farewell.
What in the Sam Hill? Well, this is the continuation of the victim's diary.
Note the torn page on the end. It's a perfect match with the torn remains of the last page in Magnifi's diary.
Quite remarkable.
Would you explain what all this means, Old Attorney? The diary continued after his first visitor came, which means that the victim was still alive after Zach Gramarye left, leaving no one to take his life but the second visitor. Valence Gramarye?
No. No! The handwriting, too, matches that on the other page. That is, without a doubt, the genuine article. Order, order, order! But wait, that's impossible. The old man couldn't have written that.
Finally. You just couldn't resist, could you, Wright? Resist what? Presenting solid evidence? Judge?
Yes, Prosecutor Gavin?
Might I request we put the cross-examination on hold? The prosecution would like to call a new witness.
But Prosecutor Gavin, this evidence overturns the court witnesses.
I ask only to put it on hold. Please. My new witness has a very, very important piece of testimony to give. 5 minutes, no more. I promise, Your Honor.
Well, if you put it that way, Mr. Wright, what's your take on this?
Well, Your Honor, judging from his enthusiasm, we'll have to hear this new testimony sooner or later anyway. So it might as well be sooner.
Then, though this is highly irregular, we will put the current cross-examination on hold. The witness may step down. Now, Prosecutor Gavin, please bring this surprise witness to the courtroom.
I had a bad feeling just then. That ripped out page was too obvious. He must have known. I should have known it was a bad sign all around. Oh shit, the counterfeiter.
Oh, holding trial with no audience is a first, even for me, Prosecutor Gavin.
I beg the court's understanding. But I had to make a judiciary deal with the witness to secure his testimony. A judiciary deal? The details of his testimony may have some legal ramifications, shall we say. I thought it best to contain information to this room.
Oh, very well. And you are the witness, I gather?
Yes, sir. State your name and... what the? State your name and occupation for the record. My name's Drew Misham. I'm a painter.
A painter? And you are somehow related to this case?
No, well, not per se. I have one simple question for this witness. Mr. Misham, was it? Do you know what this is? Oh, yeah, I know it well. How's that possible? Have you seen this diary page somewhere before? Oh, yeah, I mean, I made it. You what? You made it? Yes, you might call it one of my works. The prosecutor's office received a tip-off yesterday. Illegal evidence has been prepared for the trial of Zach Kramery.
Illegal evidence?
I initiated an investigation and found this witness. A painter to the world at large, Drew Misham has another side, you might say. He is skilled in making perfect reproduction of certain things. Forgeries, in other words. Forgeries?
Well, so are we to understand that this page here is
a fake, prepared by a certain defense attorney. Hold it! I didn't prepare this evidence! The attorney speaks. Something about this page, I presume. But what is he saying? It makes no sense. After all, it was you who presented this evidence to us, Phoenix Wright.
Witness, Mr. Misham, was it? You requested this forgery? Who was your client? That... I don't know.
What?
Most of my clients prefer to remain anonymous, even to me. I make items they want and receive my payment. That's the extent of my contact with them.
But there's no proof that this is a fake.
It's a fake.
Huh?
To avoid just this sort of problem, I always put a special mark on my works. I can say without a doubt, this is mine. Mr. Wright, you have just presented illegal evidence to this court. My court.
It was careless of me. That's all I can say. Oh, old boy. Here. What's this? I don't know. I just got it over there in the hall. They told me to give it to the old boy in the blue suit with spiky hair. They said it was really important. It was all a trap. A fatal trap.
Mr. Wright?
Yes?
Do you have an explanation for yourself?
If I did, would the court hear it?
Probably not. Forging evidence is a serious crime, and presenting it in court is a serious mistake. A fatal mistake for an attorney.
Fatal too, perhaps for your client, I fear. Tell me, what kind of defendant relies on forged evidence? The answer is quite clear. A guilty one! Your Honor, wait. I understand that presenting forged evidence in court is a serious crime. But you cannot hold my client responsible for actions I undertook as an individual.
I am sorry, Mr. Wright.
Your Honor, another close call, I dare say. If the prosecutor's office hadn't received that hot tip, everything would have gone the way you wanted it to, yeah? Give me a sec. One sec. Okay, I'm back. Even I gave you a chance. Too bad you decided not to think before embarrassing yourself. I see no need for further discussion on this matter. Special witness dismissed. Mr. Attorney? Yes? Could I ask your name? Phoenix Wright? Mr. Wright, I have seen and studied many people, but none like you. I'll remember you, Mr. Wright. Though I deeply regret having to declare a verdict in this way, the trial is over. You have the right to find a new attorney and make an appeal. However, this court must. Ah, Your Honor. Yes, Mr. Zack? There's one thing I wish to make clear. Today, in this courtroom, you cannot declare me guilty. It is impossible. I'm afraid the defendant is quite mistaken. I must certainly have the authority to declare a verdict on you. Except, tell me, how do you plan on announcing your verdict when your defendant does not exist? Doesn't exist? What are you talking about? I am talking about this. Mr. Enigma! The defendant escaped. Find him quick. Bailiff, close all exits from the building. On the double, he must not be allowed to escape. That day, in that courtroom, a miracle occurred. The defendant, Shady Enigma, aka Zack Gramarye, did not just escape from court. He literally, unbelievably vanished. Right before the bailiff's eyes. No one ever saw him again. Not since that day. This is the Gramarye miracle! No verdict was declared. After all, the defendant didn't exist. That's how it happened. The trial of magician Zack Gramarye vanished, along with him, for all eternity. The mysteries that remain behind were all solved, however. But not until 7 years later. Alright, and that's what we'll call stream. And then next stream will be the last one. Anyone I care about streaming? We can raid the Piff. Sure. Slash raid. Alright, well, bye. Well, I actually gotta wait for it to load. But yeah, good stream. Alright.